I got a few pictures here of front rear sights and the barrel after I've used most of a bottle of bluing to finally get a decent job of bluing on them. And since last night I've been slowly wiping them down with a cotton ball. I notice when you soak them in the solution, bluing solution, that it leaves after you rinse it, it leaves a sort of sooty lamp black kind of stuff on the outside. I wiped the oil on it and everything and let it sit, and the sights had to wipe a little more oil on it last night for a few hours, and the barrel I just been slowly wiping it down and rubbing it. Most of that sooty lamp black looking stuff sort of rubbed evenly into the barrel and evened out the tone of the bluing where it actually looks pretty good. So I'll be showing you those pictures, and we'll get back to the butt plate. Have to cut that out and then do some grinding on it to shape it before I can do the inletting on top of the buttstock for the tang. So watch and learn, and we'll get to it. Okay, so here's the barrel all polished up. You can see the glint from the flash on it, and the front and rear sight parts all polished up. And here's how the barrel turned out. Well, it's curing. Ditto with the front sights here. You gotta rinse it, dry it, coat it with oil, in this case REM oil. I sprayed it down, hosed them down real good with a spray can of it, and just let this sit for 2.5, not quite 3 days maybe. So now this is after it was done curing, day 1. And here is about 2.5 days in. I used a cotton ball there every once in a while, like every couple hours, to wipe it down to get the excess oil off, and it kind of mixes the sooty lamp black stuff with the oil. It wipes it on here, and you can see it was getting a nice blue, bit of steely blue sheen to it from where the sunlight shines on it. Well, that was a lot of work getting to that point. I'll never use anything but perma blue again when it comes to cold bluing chemicals. That super blue is crap. Look at that. That's nice. The sights and screws and all parts all got soaked in that Tudor's glass right there. So you can see that it's looking real even. Looks real nice. Love how that turned out. I was really trying hard to make this look good. And look at that steely blue shine. Arr, arr, arr. Dang, I love that. You just gotta love how that comes out looking like that. Dang. Nice. And you can see the barrel. I had it sitting on my little TV tray off in the corner by my little brewery there. Gotta start brewing beer again too. It's been a while since I've done that, but that barrel just looking gorgeous, nice and shiny. Right there you can see how shiny it gets. That thing can reflect a lot of light. That's from polishing the metal. And here's where I start on the butt plate. It's all drawn out on the metal right there with a pasteboard form I made. Template, I'm sorry. Dremel there. The cutoff wheel on the rubber part of the larger sanding drum rig. And that's cut off to a separate piece. It's easier to work with that way. And then you just start roughing out. And boy, from now on, I'm going to cut right on the outside edge of that black line with those reinforced cutoff wheels. They got a better one now that's got this like biohazard symbol center thing that it fits on, and it's thicker and a little bigger around. But yeah, I need to cut a little closer to the lines. You'll see why in a bit here. that one, it kind of skewed a little. Oops. Dang, metal gets hot too. You definitely need some lined leather, like welding gauntlets when you're working with any kind of grinding. Transfers heat to the metal by friction of a grinding wheel cutting through it, or shaping it conversely. And basically, just roughing it out here. 1.5 inch wide material. Can't get it in 1/16 inch thick, 1 1/4 inch wide material. I could swear they did at one point, but I guess not. At a plasma cutter, I just buy a 4x4 sheet and call it a day. But here, yeah, just using a Dremel to rough it out so I can start working on it. And the X-Acto knife blade is amazingly good for cutting the burrs off the back of the metal, because I was cutting it face on, so underneath it's gonna have a little burr kind of rolled under the edge where you can cut your fingers on if you ain't careful. So I use that X-Acto knife there to cut it off. And here is once again is what the butt plate's gonna look like with the template in its place on the end of the buttstock. Patterned again after an 1892 Winchester. And the grinding stones and the whatnot that I was using, and the cutoff wheels already mounted on it. I figured I'd just grind it down real quick. And that was okay for a bit. But the edges are kind of rough, especially where that grinding stone, I don't care which one you're using, wants to slip. So right here I took the small end of the Sharpie, or big end, I'm sorry, it was the big end, and drew the lines with the template again, holding it in place exactly as possible to redraw the lines, kind of blacken them up a little bit and see where I'm at. So don't be afraid to do that as often as possible. You will need to do that when you're working metal by hand. That's the way artisans did it with flint locks and percussion locks. Wasn't actually till the mid to late 1800s before the Industrial Revolution came along and you had machines. This is the files I use. 3-corner file, a rat tail file, and a mill file, and Wells Lamont leather gloves with fleece lining and thinsulate between that and the leather. A little stiff though, I need to work them things. And that shows the Crosman chrome edge front and back of the little sheaths to keep them in. And boy, them things kept them files like brand new inside. And a 6-inch mill file is what I do most of the work with. The mill file and a rat tail will be the ones that get used the most. So let's just see there how it's coming along on that edge that's sticking up right there. Slow but sure. Patience, patience, patience. It's going to take you a while to work that down by hand. You don't have a bench. If you have a bench grinder, you can shape that down pretty fast, and then just use the file and block sanding and whatnot to finish it before you start shaping it to the buttstock. And here, that's just been filed down for a few days, here and there. I give that little time that I got to give my fingers a chance to heal up a little from being sore, burnt and sore. Okay, well, I hope that gives you an idea of how to do the cutting, and shaping and everything. And I'll finish filing that down to its final size and shape, get it smoothed down, and next time I'll show you how to inlet the stock and bend it to fit and everything. And once we get that done, we'll hold off on bluing the thing so that we can get to the real meat and potatoes of this job and get to the Mac 1 kit and some of the things I've been looking up and figuring out for gas flow mods between the valve and all the little ports and all that stuff. Once I get it apart and I can really look, once I get it apart, get a good look at it, then I'll know just by looking at it what it needs. It's the way my mind works. Well, it's like Henry Ford, you just look at something and then he knew how it worked. You know, I'm kind of the same way, thanks to my father and grandfather. So, I hope all these videos so far have been helpful, informative, and maybe a little fun along the way. So, Merry Christmas, Happy New Year, Happy New Deer. In the case of gun hunters in Ohio, you know what I mean. And keep tinkering and keep restoring and keep modifying. Keep looking fairly original on the outside, save for maybe a way to mount a scope or something like that. That's different. Otherwise, keep it as original as possible on the outside and mod it to the snotty on the inside. So it shoots better. It still looks like that same great old rifle that everybody remembers finally. Y'all know what I mean. So, little food for thought. Good Lord willing, the creeks don't rise. We'll see you again.